What's going on, champions? Welcome to another episode of Unleash the Champ Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Kyle Sullivan, and today we have a special guest, an expert in a field that is often talked about, but not very often understood. Josh Rhodes is born and raised in Haleyville, Alabama, escaped a one traffic light town by playing D1 baseball at Samford University. After graduation, began a journey as a corporate sales leader, transitioned into the president of Inc. 5,000 firms, and have exited several ventures successfully. Now he has founded Crypto, y'all, which I love being from the South, because he loves crypto and he loves people. It's that simple. He resides now in Birmingham, Alabama, with his awesome wife, Andrea, 3 beautiful daughters, and 2 mini golden doodles. Dog, shout out to you for the golden doodles. But Josh, thanks so much for being on the show today, man.
Yeah, man, honored to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we got the bio, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But who is Josh Rhodes beyond the bio?
Gosh, I'm just I guess I'm a man of the people. You know, I'm a small business owner. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I go to church. I want to make the world around me a better place with my money. And my dad taught me to be really generous growing up. He served in the Marine Corps, was in Vietnam, and came home and started a business, and really basically kept my brother and I out of extreme generational poverty, just because he made enough money in a place where our extended family didn't have it. And so, like, my grandma used to make spaghetti sauce with ketchup because she just couldn't afford ragu in a jar, you know, and or produce. So, you know, I grew up, my dad was so benevolent and charitable to people in the community, and he helped people when they were in need. And now I just want to do that on a larger scale and I use crypto as a medium to get there. So that's really kind of like the flux capacitor for those Back to the Future fans of Josh Rhodes and crypto, y'all.
Yeah. So, man, this topic, as we were talking before we hit record, is so in the news. It's so in the media. Everybody's got an opinion on it, but sometimes people don't even know the basics of what is crypto. So let's talk to somebody that's, I mean, everybody's heard of it, I'm sure, at this point. But what is crypto, and why do you think it's, you know, just blowing up right now?
Well, you know, the question, what is crypto, is basically like asking what is biology or what is zoology. Like, there's just a lot of species and categories that go into it. So let's just gravitate towards Bitcoin, I guess, to simplify the conversation. Although Bitcoin is kind of it's the largest market cap. It's the most adopted so far in cryptocurrency world. And I think the best way to think about it is it's software first. It is the largest computer network on the planet. It's a peer-to-peer information system. So, like, it's literally, before you think about it being money, think about it being a decentralized, that means no central human or government or greedy Wall Street firm controls this peer-to-peer network. It controls itself. It's apolitical. And that being said, it's a platform for Kyle being in Austria and Josh being in another continent. We can exchange information at light speed. This just happens to be information in the form of money data. And so you and I could settle millions or billions of dollars in light seconds, as opposed to, you know, going through all the rigmarole of the traditional banking system or whatever. And it's a peer-to-peer system that makes governments, economies, and interpersonal economical relationships better, faster, and more cost efficient, which ultimately will raise billions of people out of poverty, because what it really is property. So when you own a Bitcoin or a particular crypto, you own property. And if you know anything about, for example, the United States in the founding fathers, it was about life, liberty, and the pursuit of property ownership, because they knew that that's where freedom was, as individual, autonomous, sovereign individuals who had their own responsibility to take care of their own freedoms and liberties. And so Bitcoin is like the ultimate exercise, and crypto is too, the ultimate exercise and demonstration of self-reliance and autonomy. So if you don't like that kind of thing, you're not going to like crypto. But if you do like that kind of thing, if you like charting your own course, and if you like having that flexibility and liberty to do what you want with your property, you should love crypto.
Yeah. Wow, I feel like there was a lot said in that. Why? Let's go a bit further. Why is it so valuable, and what causes the ups and downs? Like, people may understand stocks, may understand this, but it's like, but at the time of this recording, it's like crazy volatile right now. It's particularly Bitcoin, which those that understand it are like, I'm getting it, I'm buying it. But why is it so valuable? What's the, let's just do that. Why is it so
value? Yeah, I think value and volatility are a great envelope to talk about. Volatility is kind of easy. The reason why it's volatile in the price, and volatility is subjective to time and time horizon, right? So there's a famous tweet that is out there. Anyone with Google image search can find this. Just search Nick Allen Bitcoin tweet. There's this guy named Nick Allen, like in November of 2010 or something, said, "I'm so glad I didn't buy into this junk Bitcoin. It's down to $2.70 a coin." And then like 10 years later, of course, now it's, depending on when you listen or hear this, it's $30,000 to $60,000 in value. And so 10 years later, or 8 years later, someone comes back and tweets to him, "Hey, is this guy still alive?" And he actually responds and says, "I'm alive, but dead inside." Meaning, in a short time period, he was judgmental, and he was his judicial approach to investing in an asset was short-sighted. So volatility is in the eye of the beholder. But if you've got a long-term view, you actually realize that Bitcoin has outperformed the S&P 500 year after year, to the tune of about 150 to 200% year-over-year increases over its life. Now, why is it valuable? It's valuable because of really various monetary characteristics. Like if you study the history of money and the characteristics of money, there are properties that a currency or a store of value has that are important to individuals and economies. For example, one of them is portability. Like, how portable is your currency? Well, Bitcoin's extremely portable. We just discussed how you and I could, with an app right now, send you Bitcoin in the next couple of seconds before I'm finished with my next sentence. Very portable. Whereas if you're trying to buy groceries with your bars of gold, you need a dump truck, or at least a wheelbarrow, right, to move them. You need help to do that. So it's not very sellable. It's not very transactionable. So portability is good. Durability. Think about the US dollar, like 40%. Think about this. In the last 2 years, the United States Federal Reserve, the central bank's government, has printed 40% of the US dollar circulation that has ever existed in history of the United States dollar. So what does that do? Well, now we're experiencing hyperinflation and all the things you see in the headlines, and that's a real thing. Consumer price index is out of control. Well, the dollar is not very durable. And even if you look back over 100 years, you'll see that the dollar continues to lose at least 15 or 20% of buying power year over year. If you've ever heard the saying, "Hey, I'm buying land because they ain't making any more. God ain't making any more land," like, that's the same thing with Bitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever, 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 ever. It's an algorithmic destiny that's already been programmed by the original founder. And basically, this pseudonymous founder, it was like he spun the top, or she spun the top and started Bitcoin and walked away. and said, no one can manipulate the destiny of Bitcoin. There will only ever be 21 million. And so now you've got people like Fidelity Investments who manage $10 trillion of assets under management, and BlackRock and Grayscale saying that this is the superior form of money. This is the future. We're going to have $1 million Bitcoin price in the next 10 years. And so there's a lot of things. I mean, I could go on forever about the value and the reason why, but those are just some highlights.
Yeah. So what do you say to the person that listens to this, or they've looked at headlines, they looked at this, because there's enough people on both sides of the coin, no pun intended, that just still doesn't get it. Like, how do you talk to somebody like the everyday person that just sees headlines, hadn't really done a lot into it, but still is like, this just doesn't seem like it's going to be around long term?
Well, I have close friends who were like that. It's still very common. I mean, the fact of the matter is the fact that you have to ask that question is actually evidence that we're still early, and you, if you're listening to this, have an awesome opportunity to create generational wealth, because we're still on the front end of the adoption curve. And this is the part I left out on the volatility part of the conversation. It's volatile because the market cap is only 1 to 1.5 trillion, the total US dollar market cap, which kind of reflects the global adoption. If you compare it to gold, that's been around for thousands of years, gold has about a $10 trillion market cap. So in one way, it's really impressive that crypto is already at 1/10 or almost 2/10 the size of gold in 13 years. Its adoption rate's going as fast as the internet and mobile technology. So it's always helpful to show people who are either, they're doubters or they just don't get it. It's just important to casually and genuinely and authentically show them how. And some of these apex characteristics that crypto has in comparison to fiat monies, and help them understand and show them things that, especially like third-party sources, like I mentioned, Fidelity, like they dropped a bombshell 21-page paper in February called Bitcoin First. Fidelity is one of the largest, if not the largest, asset managers on the planet, $10 trillion. So if they are like, I don't have enough hubris or ego to think that I can outthink all the analysts at Fidelity when it comes to money matters. And so to some point, we can model the masters in that regard.
Yeah, I think that's good. And so crypto has turned in, I mean, there's so many different coins and things. And then it's like, oh, now we got this metaverse thing, and we got NFTs, and we got all of this digital stuff. Like, what is the metaverse? Is it, people like, oh, Facebook changed their name and then all of a sudden we got the metaverse. I doubt it's like that. But like, what is the metaverse? People are buying real estate in the metaverse. Where do you see that go? Like, it just seems nuts. We're living in a wild time. So talk to us about that.
Oh man. I mean, it was easy for me to latch onto, because I grew up playing video games. Like, I was the original Nintendo generation. So, I had the Legend of Zelda golden Nintendo cassette. And I just remember going, man, I remember as a child in the 80s, just being wrapped up in that immersive world, even though it was 2D, 8-bit graphics. Like, I just remember getting lost in that. Well, if you understand video games, or at least the concept, you don't have to be a gamer, but that'll help you understand. We've had the metaverse for a long time. It's just now becoming a tokenized or a marketing word that helps us really put language to things. So the metaverse, there's actually multiple metaverses. You can create your own metaverse. It's basically a hamlet or an enclosed ecosystem for your project or crypto world. And so if you've seen the movie or read the book Ready Player One, that's the most extreme version of this, where there's just an alternate reality. But the way it's manifesting mostly right now in contemporary time are play to earn crypto games, games that have their own native cryptocurrency, And as a user or as a player, you're rewarded for spending time in the game, because the games want you to spend more time. Just like social media rewards you with endorphin hits, basically, to stay on Instagram, to stay on TikTok, to stay on Facebook, and stay on YouTube, whatever. They reward you with that endorphin kick. Well, play to earn games and metaverse worlds, if you will, are rewarding players by paying them or allowing them to earn rewards. And then those native tokens have US dollar equivalent that you can use as income or whatever. And then what they're doing is they're merging NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens, which are basically symbolic gestures of something that you own in a digital or virtual space. So I own land, for example, in a metaverse game called The Sandbox. It's the second largest market cap game behind Decentraland. And The Sandbox is kind of like the crypto version of Minecraft and Roblox. If Roblox and Minecraft had a baby, The Sandbox is that. And so you've got massive brands from Adidas, all the central exchanges of crypto, Snoop Dogg, Care Bears, Pokemon, like you name it, just all these consumer brands across the planet have bought up land. There's a finite number or a fixed number of parcels of land. And so they haven't even publicly released the game yet, but there's just billions of dollars moving into this industry. And you can buy land, you can own it. I could rent it out to other business owners who own businesses in the sandbox. I can flip it and sell it just like actual real estate. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, that's wild. And so let me get your perspective on this, because there's a lot in the conversations I'm having with people. I'm going, does it remove our need for physical human connection? So I want to go a little deep here, because like I grew up playing video games, GoldenEye, Zelda, like we're in this. I get that.
Yes.
But then it's like, shut the game off and go outside.
Right. Yes.
Like, we're putting time, hey, Apple's got screen time restrictions where you get off the digital world and get into the physical world. How do you see us blending and navigating that tension where we could just put on a headset and block out the whole world and escape? How do you, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's very important that everyone listening needs to understand how early the metaverse side of the industry it actually is, especially when it comes to the crypto play to earn category. They have a long way to go, and the AAA rated gaming studios are just now starting to get in the game. So it's going to get real pretty quick. In the next 3 to 5 years, I expect a, $5, 10, $15 trillion industry there, which would be pretty incredible. That being said, to your question or your point, man, I don't know. Humans are humans. They're going to find their addictions, and they're going to find their escape hatches and their drugs to numb them one way or the other. Unfortunately, I don't necessarily see it, the metaverse, as a inherently bad or wrong thing to interact with. It can be abused like anything else can. I love bourbon too, but I don't abuse it, but there's some crazy utilities I think that'll happen. Like I very much believe that my daughters, if they wanted to, after they graduate college, they will have a job or be able to be self-employed in the crypto gaming industry if they want to be. And I think there's going to be literally like shifts that people work, and they're working in the metaverse. And I think the reason why metaverse and gaming and all that's going to be a big deal is because it's an attention arbitrage. The same thing that Web2 or social media boom did all it did was just arbitrage attention. It's got eyeballs for advertisers or product movement. I mean, bottom line, it's meritocracy. And so I think this entire movement is going to be just that. It's going to be another the Web3 movement is simply another iteration, mutation, evolution of how much attention can we arbitrage from other humans, and how can we monetize that attention for our brand purposes. And that's kind of it. So capitalism.
Yeah, I think that's great. And that's the conversation I'm having. I got 2 kids under 2.5, and I'm going, what world are they going to live in, navigate, and be native to?
Oh yeah.
Like, I think about for social media, we're kind of the half of our generation growing up as millennials were on social media. And so it's pretty native to us. It's, we can navigate it well, we can disconnect with whatever. I'm going, this is like, and my parents going, I don't understand it. I don't know. I'm like, it's kind of the same thing with the Web3 stuff.
Oh yeah.
So with NFTs, they are selling for asinine amounts of money.
Yeah.
How did that value get placed on something like that? How are these things tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars that look like, something my daughter would bring home and show me from preschool?
Yeah.
Grossly like simplified, but like how is this happening?
Yeah, like mutant banana zombies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think there's 2 things we always have to understand. I'm a marketer and a business owner too. So like one thing that I learned early in my online business career was that people buy things. And the reason why they buy things, yes, they might need to brush their teeth, and so they buy some toothpaste. Like there's utility in the reason why they buy things. But why do they buy nice things? Or why do they want nice things? Or why do they want to buy what other people are buying? Why are name brands and generic or generic? At the end of the day, humans buy things on a consumer level for status, mobility. Bottom line, end of story. And that's where you get this good old-fashioned word called hype. Now, marry that psychology or that human nature with the fact that NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which really just means there's no 2 alike. If you have NFTs, number one, we don't have language for that. And really the true value of NFTs are what we call smart contracts, which are, again, algorithmic moderators or administrators that basically dole out the benefits to their owners that own an NFT. It's just the pre-programmed administrator for, hey, if you own a zombie mutant banana picture, you might also have benefit A, benefit B, and benefit C, and they may be monetary benefits. They may, but like there are certain NFTs, I can't remember which one. It's one of the ape collections. It creates bananas every day. Well, a banana is actually a cryptocurrency, and it has a US dollar equivalent. So owning that NFT is virtually like owning a rental property that pays you rent every day that you can go exchange for income and a paycheck or do whatever. So that's moderated by a smart contract. Well, we didn't have language for smart contracts. It's the same reason why our parents thought that our brains were going to melt because I was playing Mario Brothers 3 too long. My brain didn't melt, but they didn't get it. But all it was human nature trying to interact with technology and go, all right, where's the language for the smart contract? Why is this important? And so we started with art because art makes us talk. It makes you and I now talk about zombie banana pictures on a podcast and everyone else is hearing it. And now they're like, oh, NFTs, it's vernacular. So now we can actually do business with NFTs or at least move down the line. So this year, the first home was sold as an NFT. So now we're tokenizing the real estate transaction process. And it's not that we digitized the physical home, it's that we digitized the actual settlement process. and you take all of the closing documents and where, who does this home belong to, and the land survey and the inspection and the appraisal, and you put it on an open ledger, and ultimately, county courthouses will have blockchains, and it'll be less about filing cabinets and secretaries and more about, well, do I have to go stand on the courthouse steps to buy a piece of real estate that's in foreclosure, or can I just do it with my Bitcoin on an open ledger and it's immutable and incorruptible? And so we'll move into those, and then we'll get rewarded with NFTs that say, yeah, that's my property, or that's the deed to my property. And that's just one physical utility. I mean, all sectors ultimately will deal with smart contracts, in my opinion, but that's the long answer to your question.
Yeah, no, it makes so much sense. It's being able to take all of this language and tie it into an understanding of what people already have awareness and acceptance of. Totally. So I love how you're explaining it. And so there's tons of coins, there's tons of NFTs, seems like every few days there's this new rising whatever. Yeah. How can somebody that is novice, or they know enough to get in trouble with it, how can they make smart decisions about all of these things with crypto, NFTs, Metaverse? What advice would you give to them?
Well, there's two layers. Number one, there is approach to being a sophisticated crypto investor. There's a difference between crypto slot machine gambling and crypto investing. But if you're one of those retail investors and you're just like, hey, I want to take advantage of the movement, I don't want to become a day trader in crypto or something like that. If you're just like, I just want to put my money in a better vehicle than the stock market or government bonds or gold, then what you need to be on the lookout for is utility. Like, understand what is the crypto for. And I started with Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't have this romantic, crazy story with crypto. I saw a FOMO headline just like everybody else does, and it made me want to buy some. And I was a real estate investor, a business owner. And so I had some categories already in my brain, like I understood assets and the properties of assets or the characteristics. And so once I sank my teeth into Bitcoin and Ethereum, I kind of had the eureka moment of, oh, wow, like this is way bigger than just buying a stock. This isn't a security. Like, I'm buying, a part of the scaffolding of the future of how we're going to, like, it's almost like if you could have bought a piece of the internet early on, like that's kind of where we are. So you want to look for utility, man. You want to understand what is it. And there's basically two categories. You have Bitcoin and everybody else. Everybody else is what we call an altcoin. And it's just a bunch of software companies. I mean, if we're just being dead honest, Bitcoin is really the only true decentralized protocol out there. And then everything else is an altcoin or an alternative coin. Doesn't mean they can't be useful, and doesn't mean they can't provide returns. It just means that you need to understand what you're getting into. If you're really big on the whole decentralization movement, then you might consider strongly investing in Bitcoin, not financial advice, but do your research around that utility of, hey, I want to be a part of a decentralized ecosystem. And then beyond that, you need to look into the other altcoins for what they were made to do and how good are they at that. Ethereum, they're basically coined as the programmable form of money. And a ton of other cryptos, basically the majority of all altcoins are built on the Ethereum network. It's kind of like, they're the railroad tracks, that all the trains ride on. And so understanding that kind of thing is where I would just start on a very, very high level. And of course, there's ways to dig in and lift the hood and kick the tires on all these protocols. But if you just want to get started, Bitcoin and Ethereum, really good place to start.
Yeah. Where can people learn about this? What books, podcasts, what you do with, where can somebody listen to this go, all right, man, this Josh guy, he's explained it in a way that that I'm having my own aha moment through his conversation. Now what?
Okay. I'll give you, I'll let everyone know where they can find me if you want to keep talking to an Alabama guy from a crypto standpoint, but also I'll tell you some people that I follow and listen to as well. Just go to my website, cryptoyall.co. That's crypto y'all. Yeah, that's Southern slang. And it's .co, not .com. And there you can join a Crypto 101 training, the next one that's happening, or grab any resources that I have there. But I'll just do on that site. It's just kind of a landing pad for you to discover more. And if you want to join an hour to hour and a half class with me, you can totally do that. I listen to people. One book that is a fantastic read. It's considered to be the Bible for most Bitcoin maximalists. Is called The Bitcoin Standard. It's by Safidi Amos. He's an Austrian economist and a Bitcoin maximalist. And he does a really good job of teaching you the history of money, literally going back to Malaysian islands that use seashells and granite rocks as money, all the way through the Roman Empire up into we have the US fiat dollar system and world reserve currency. Another book that's not crypto specific that I think everyone should read, especially if you're an American, is called The Accidental Superpower. And it's written by a geopolitical economist, Peter Zeihan, and it just talks about the United States and all of the features it has as a superpower and why it's there. If you start to marry that conversation with the currency conversation, it's very, very interesting if you're trying to become economically or financially free, understanding those two bedrock parts of who we are. And again, you don't have to be American to read that. I'm just kind of thinking out loud on some references. But the Bitcoin Standard, if you just had to pick one, listen to it on Audible as fast as you possibly can.
Love it, man. And we'll have your website linked where people can go check you out and everything like that. Before we let you go, I got one more question for you. So at Unleash the Champ Leadership Podcast, Josh, we want to know, what does it mean to be a champion to you?
I think a champion defends the liberties of those who are too weak to defend their own liberties. And in the case of crypto, I think being an adopter and an enthusiast of crypto promotes adoption of the future to happen faster, so that people who may not even realize they need autonomy financially, they may not even realize they need to pursue financial freedom or have a chance. You know, we have caste systems, whether we like it or not. And some people will never go to college. Some people don't have rich parents. Some people don't have the opportunity to escalate and pay the bills for their family. And so ultimately, I think that a champion helps other people find the pathway to freedom.
Love it, man. And that's what you're doing through crypto and your trainings that you do. So thank you for what you do, man. You've made a really complicated subject really practical to this. So thank you for that.
Thank you.